Ironman 70.3 Traverse City. We're going to be talking about courses, specifically the swim course. As we all know, that water is going to be cold. I think that's going to be the underlying factor, because if you pull up the website, see that nice average air temperature of 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which in August, that's pretty good. Pretty chilly conditions. August 30th. Average water temperature is 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So bring your wetsuit, bring a full wetsuit. It's going to be chilly. But let's look at the course. And I'm showing you exactly what I do for myself, for my athletes. I go to the Ironman website and check out the course, because ultimately they're going to decide what the course is going to look like. The key factors I'm looking for is the shape of it, start and finish, how many loops is going to be. Looking at the Traverse City map, this will be the second year they've done it, so hopefully they've worked out any kinks that they had in the past with this setup. But I always pull out the PDF. You never know if they're going to have a second page inserted in, if they got any information on that. But it doesn't look like they've got any information inserted on that. But take a look. You've got a point-to-point swim and one loop. Looks like a clockwise swim, so nothing too difficult. The only thing is you're going to be swimming kind of at angles, and luckily it's only got two turns, and you go back to finish. That is pretty much straightforward and bread and butter swim as you can get. It's always nice because you keep in the buoys on the right side, you turn it red. It is nice that they had the yellows for the first half, and the second half it turns orange, so you got a nice visual marker for when you're swimming along and wondering where you're at. You're like, oh, there's another yellow, there's another yellow, there's another yellow. You hit that first orange, you're like, oh, I'm halfway there. So you've reached the halfway goal. So that's always kind of nice. So it's always good to know what the map looks like. Don't just show up race day and be like, oh, well, I have no idea what the swim's going to look like. Let me go find the course maps and check in the Ironman Village. And then you're like, oh, that's what it looks like. But this one, like I said, it looks pretty straightforward. And generally, I will say that the buoy count should match what's in the water. So if you really wanted to, and this gives you your mind something to kind of focus on while you're swimming along, is counting the buoys. So this first one, you got 3, and then you hit the red. So you're counting 1, 2, 3. Okay, I know I should be looking for red buoy and turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orange, and looking for a red. So 10 buoys total, 5 of each color. Look for a red and turn. And 1, 2, 3 on the way back, and 4 right at the finish. So this fourth one. So be aware that when you're swimming along, you're keeping the buoys on the right side, that you hit 1, 2, 3, looking at that fourth, and that fourth should be right by the finish line. So always be looking where you should be sighting. It's always important to go to the finish area, make sure that you know all the landmarks and what you want to be aiming for, because sometimes if you're swimming out here, you get stuck, there's a wave, something going on, other swimmers, you get swam over, you lose your bearings. It's good to know, okay, I should be looking for something over here, some monument or something like that, or looking for this little point right here, and then knowing that the buoy's right here, because last thing you do want to do as well is be swimming and zigzagging around. That's going to be key, especially when you're looking at the lake swim. I mean, you're going to want, go back. It can get pretty wild. I mean, the swells, you could have a situation where you've got some swells, or you even have some waves going on where you could be hard to see over them. So when you're sighting, you need to be efficient at sighting, be able to look for those buoys. The big mistake a lot of people make is they try to take as many strokes as possible in between sighting, and you end up off course. So you're out here, you're thinking, straight line, I can keep that no problem. And you pull off to the left, or the current takes you out, and then you sight out here, you're like, oh crap. So you start swimming this way, and then you get right next to the buoy, you're like, okay, I'm good. And then you end up this way, and you swim to the buoy, I'm good. And then you swim out this way, and you're like, oh, I got to make the turn. So it is 1.2 miles. Typically, sometimes they're off a little bit, but typically this should be a 1.2 mile swim. If you're zigzagging around, you may have the best swim speed out there, but you're going to do more than 1.2 mile swimming. So be careful when you're out there. Don't take for granted that's a straight line, and make sure that you're keeping track of where you're at on the course. You should be by by doing sighting appropriately. So make sure you're working that in on your swimming, your technique, and your focus. Especially in the pool, and we all have a tendency just to swim along. You can see the lane markers at the bottom of the pool as you're swimming along. You don't really have to look up and sight much, but make sure you're working on sighting. Try to get some open water swims if you can, and some murkier water, just so you can get kind of used to not being able to see on the bottom of the floor. Or also just work on like what I call the Tarzan drill, where you're looking up and you're swimming along, and it's just keeping your head above water. So you're getting used to swimming in a position where it's not exactly ergonomic and comfortable, but it gets you in a position to where you can look up, because that will strain the back, it will strain the hamstrings and everything. So if you're not used to sighting, that will be a problem when you hit the finish line. You pop out and everything is sore or a little bit more used than you're used to after 1.2-mile swim. You get out on a bike and your muscles just don't like it, and they try to cramp up on you or something. So make sure you're used to that. Like I said, I think, look at the average water temperature. A wetsuit is going to be a must. I think it's going to be legal. Pretty much there's no way around it. I mean, when you get out here, you're going to be wetsuit legal. Just make sure you're ready. I would almost go as far as to say maybe get a neoprene swim cap. I could put a link to that in the comments. I've got one. I would wear it in the circumstance. Definitely full sleeve wetsuit for sure. And then try to find maybe a neoprene swim cap. I would not go with booties. Personally, I don't like them. They make it difficult for me. They fill up with water and kind of drag me along. And I've swam in water in Indian Wells that was 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and I still got my feet and all my toes. It won't be, they'll go numb after a point, but at least you won't feel them and it won't be painful. But then on the bike, they should wake up, and depending on the temperatures, they'll warm up or not. But so definitely the keys are going to be full sleeve wetsuit. Make sure you're good on the sighting, count your buoys, and look for neoprene swim caps that can possibly help you out, keep that body heat in your body. The other key would be consider, you don't want to do neoprene swim caps, doubling up on swim caps. You can always usually find extras at the swim start and just double up on them and keep because you lose a lot of body heat through your head. So if you can keep it on there, you can keep warmer for longer periods of time. So those are going to be some of your main points. But I definitely get your wetsuit now, get out, get some practice in it. Make sure it fits. Full sleeve should fit fine. You should not feel it tug on your arms if it fits. If you can't get it on correctly, or if it's the wrong size and it pulls in your arms, it's not your size. Or try inching it up a little bit from starting leg, ankles, knees, thighs, waist, chest, arms. Inch it up little by little to a point where you have plenty of room in the shoulders to swing your arms and swim. You should not be tight in the shoulders with a full sleeve wetsuit. If you are, then it is not your size and it's not fit to you. But that, quick, to the point. Swim as long as there is no wind or atypical conditions out there. It should be fairly straightforward. I would definitely focus on some strength swimming, especially in a very large body of water like this. You're going to want to be out there. There's going to be waves. There's going to be swells. You're going to have to deal with it in currents. Once you get out there, you're going to be dealing with it all. It's almost like an ocean swim, a pure open water swim. It's not going to be a little lake swim. So make sure you're ready for that. Make sure you're doing some strength work in the pool too, paddles, buoys. Just make sure you can overcome that if you can't get opportunities to get in open water swims, especially in challenging open water swims. That would be my recommendation for the swim for the Traverse City 70.3 Ironman. As always, if you've got any questions, just hit me back. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability to find a resource that will help you out. With that, we will be back again. We'll be talking about the bike course and the things you should be focusing on. Talk to you then.